back, everyone. Hi, welcome back to our second part of this video. We're talking about very interesting things, forest policy. So you probably watched, if you have not watched our video, please do watch it. We have linked it somewhere on the description box. If not, our editor somewhere will put it on the screen. So make sure you click there, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. We are very new to YouTube, but we hope to hit very many subscribers in the days to come. We're excited to have this conversation. And what are we talking about? What are the tricks and tips of carrying out a policy review? So you may probably be having a task at hand. Either you're reviewing a HR policy, a company policy, or your lecturer is just that deep and gave you a policy to review and you're thinking, how do I start this thing? So this well-able panelist will give you the tricks and the tips necessary to be able to effectively carry out a policy review. So welcome on board. Let's go. We'll start with Edith.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for that very awesome introduction. When I review a policy, I try to think around why was there a need for it to be reviewed? So what is the why behind it? And I look at the situational analysis, and with my pen and paper, just write down in a case-by-case analysis. So I would read the policy a few times, 2 or 3 times, but, with an understanding that this is the first case. So for example, in the policy review, there was the aspect of increasing the involvement of the community in terms of assisting with forest conservation and protection. So I would go through the entire document, looking at, what are the suggestions, what does the policy recommend, such that what I am trying to analyze is, does the policy serve the purpose with which it is intended to serve? So for me, it's just case by case in terms of what is the situation before, how does the policy assist to make it better? Thank you.
I like that. Kahaso, I'm sure you have something that you can advise people on.
Okay, so what I did is I find out what I'm interested to see in the policy. For example, let's say like I want to see what they're talking about on, let's say, like wildlife. I will go through the policy and look for the specific thing that they're talking about on wildlife. What are they trying to do? How are they trying to make things better? Something like that. And yeah, that's how I go about it.
Very nice. Rukia, do you agree with these people? Is that how you conduct your policy review? Anything to add to that or subtract?
Thank you, Rebecca. 100%. I agree with my sisters on this point because, like when Edith points around looking at why are they reviewing this policy to begin with, and also picking out that niche, like what Noreen mentioned in terms of, so what are you passionate about and why are you here in the first place, like looking into this policy? And my tips or tricks will be tying into that, kind of those two as well. Like if I'm in the niche of maybe water resources, I'll be checking out, so what's different now? So you said you're reviewing this policy because, like Edith said, they said, oh, we're reviewing this policy maybe because the constitution hasn't been aligned with this current forest policy, sorry. So my tip and trick would go in and say, okay, so you mentioned that there's no alignment. So what are the areas of aligning? So looking at those 2 different policies from the past one and the old one to just see what's new there and what's the improvement from the old one. And yeah, so mostly my practical kind of tip, I'm a big PDF junkie and highlight junkie. So you'd find me on my phone, just using PDF on my phone and highlighting those points that I think are crucial to what I'm trying to look for, and just like helping me like decompress that 59 or 200 page document that I'll be reading at that time. So yeah, I'll pass it over back to you, Rebecca.
Those are very solid points. I hope you, our dear viewer, you're able to pick up something. First of all, if you're the traditional people, well, not really tradition, old school, pen and paper always works. I have a few people that I know who actually go to the extent of printing a paper. We are also trying to be very green in our business, so we will probably not advocate for that. But if that is what you do, maybe you can use recycled paper. I saw there's one time I had a supervisor who would actually she never used to throw away papers. That doesn't matter which kind of paper she used. And then that is the same paper she would now, if it was only printed on one side, she would print it on the other side, and then now, print that document again. That way, if she's going to add any comments and maybe she needs to throw away the paper, it's okay because she has used less paper. That's just maybe another tip for those people who want to go the other way of printing the papers and writing on it. I like your tip for highlighting. I'm also a junkie. I go all the way. Actually, in my on my desk, I have the pink, the green, and the yellow highlighters. Those ones are for those days when I'm feeling like, let me just go all extra. I color code my comments. That's just a trick. And then also it kind of helps me actually. Now when I'm going into the actual writing of the comments and compiling, I'm able to like have a systematic way of ordering up. Like I'll know the reds are for things that maybe I have a question. The greens are for like things that I'm like, that's a really nice opportunity. The yellows. So I color code my my review paper, whatever I'm doing. That's on the practical basis. And lastly, remember why you're highlighting, because you might highlight things which are irrelevant and you may spend days on a policy paper that is not relevant to you. So remember where you're coming from. And I think that speaks also to the niche. If you know why you're reviewing that policy, why do you want to participate in that conversation, it really helps you to be very focused when you're doing the policy review. And you realize a policy can't address everything. Sometimes you write things and you think like, oh, it should address all the problems in the world. As much as we have so many global issues, we can only attend to them one at a time. So policies help us to have that. They are a roadmap. So I would say the other thing that you need to do is have your lens, the niche lens where you are coming from, but also be able to be attentive to other people. What are the other sectors talking about? So yes, my niche is on maybe, for example, I'm a business person. I'm interested in investing in forest industry, and you realize people are saying, oh, there are certain guidelines in the policies which may hinder your business. So as a business person, you need to be focused on looking at what are other sectors talking about. What is this policy talking about in terms of other sectors? Is it advocating for my kind of business? Is it something that is against my business? So that when you're submitting your comments or participating in that conversation, you know where you're coming from. You're well prepared with your notes and everything that you need. Academician, you also need to know like, oh yeah, so they talked about this in terms of population. What am I bringing on board as someone who is probably from a different sector? So you're well-rounded when you're doing your policy review. I guess that's it for us. In case there's anyone from here, maybe you will give me like a thumbs up. Do we continue or we end there? It's so cheesy, but let's just do that. I think we are cool to go. Thank you so much for watching, and feel free to share, subscribe, notification bell iko hapo chini, make sure you like it. And we look forward to seeing you in our different platforms. You're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Let's continue talking about environmental stuff, and let's just, be people who are on board on everything that makes our country look good. God bless you all. Many loves from Greenfirm.